Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Lexi Gavin Mather, and I'm so excited you landed on my page and that you're here with me today. Whether you are a new poker player just starting out or a little bit more seasoned, I am going to give you 6 awesome tips, easy tips to follow that are going to help transform your poker game today. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so here we are. Again, I'm Lexi, and if you want to follow me on social media, I'm everywhere at Lexi Gavin Poker, Lexi with a Y. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of the platforms. I'm there, and I am constantly giving out free poker tips just for you. So if online poker is booming, then why are so many poker players struggling? It's a really good question. They either don't know where to begin, are overwhelmed by the complexity of the game, or don't know how to study properly. Studying is so important, and I really recommend having a nice balance of study and play. You want to make sure you're getting in volume at the poker tables, but you also have to be doing the work in the lab, off the felt, to really improve your play and your strategy. The game has gotten incredibly complicated over the years. Poker has evolved to, back in the way early days, the game wasn't very tough, but now there's really complex strategies and solvers, and the game has gotten really complicated and hard to follow and can be really intimidating for people, whether they're just starting out or, like I said, a little bit more seasoned to, learn to consistently win in the game. But I am here to tell you that you don't have to be a super robotic, we call them GTO wizards, to win at the game these days. You don't have to know how to do all these super complex solver equations to be profitable and to, win consistently in poker. So are you looking to take your poker game to the next level? Because if you are, I'm here to help. And if you don't believe me, this is a testimonial I have from the one and only Daniel Negreanu. He is a Poker Hall of Fame inductee, and he, over $50 million in live tournament earnings and is just an absolute goat. And he has to say, Lexi is an amazing poker player, coach, and person. Her charitable contributions and time giving back to the community is truly inspirational. I recommend getting to know Lexi whenever and wherever you can. So take Daniel's advice because it's good advice. Thank you, Daniel, for the nice words. Let's get into the 6 easy steps to immediately improve your game. Step 1, master your pre-flop game. So everything starts pre-flop. It's before the board is dealt, right? Before the flop comes out, it's just you and your 2 cards and all of your opponents. And you really need to have a solid understanding of what hands you should be raising, what hands you should be folding, what hands you should be calling, what hands you should be re-raising. So mastering your pre-flop game is essential. Step number 2 is bankroll management. It sounds like an overrated step, but I'm telling you, bankroll management is so important. You need to learn how not to go broke in poker. Step 3, learn to exploit weak opponents. Step 4, learn to be aggressive. Aggression wins in poker. Step 5, master your continuation bet strategy. And step 6, read your opponent's souls. So let's dive a little bit deeper into each and every one of these. So step 1, master your pre-flop game. So these are called raise first in ranges. And I know I promise you don't have to, use a lot of crazy tools and solvers and things like that, but your pre-flop raise first in ranges, meaning these are the hands that you're going to be folding or raising or calling pre-flop. It's really important to have a solid understanding of what hands you should be raising in each position. So these ranges here are just for raising or folding. All the hands in red we're going to be raising. So as you can see, the first chart here is the under the gun position. So all of the hands in red you're going to be raising. All of the hands in white you're going to be folding. I have every position all the way to the small blind where you're going to have a mixed strategy of raise for value, raise for bluff, come on in for the limp, and fold. Now I do have all of these raise first in ranges for free to download inside of my course, but we'll get into that later. So step number 2 is bankroll management. So proper bankroll management is crucial to the success of your poker game. The general rule is you should have at least 50 buy-ins of any stake that you play, because poker has a lot of variance, right? So losing is inevitable. You are going to go on downswings, but it's all about making sure you're managing your money properly so that you're not at risk of busting your bankroll. And it's very easy to do. Just make sure you have 50 buy-ins of any stake that you play. So for example, if your average game that you play is $1, $2, no limit hold'em, then you should have at least 50 buy-ins of that stake, which would be $10,000, because I recommend buying in for at least 100 times the big blind, right? 100 big blinds. So the big blind in this scenario is $2. So you should be buying in for about $200 at least. So if that's the case, then a $10,000 bankroll, you should be totally fine. This is if you're pursuing it full time. If you're just a recreational player that wants to just get their feet wet and play occasionally and play once in a while, then you can get away with having like 20 or 30 big blinds. That's no problem at all. So you want to treat your money as an investment. The best investment that you can make is in yourself. So when I first started playing, I hired coaches, I joined training sites, I bought books, a lot of my money went into learning the game. I bought programs, I did all of the things, and it really, really helped shape my game. So make sure that you're valuing you as a person and your commitment to growing your poker knowledge, and then invest in yourself because it will benefit you in the long run. And then you want to separate your poker money from life money. So you don't ever want to be gambling with your rent money or your grocery money, right? So you want to make sure that you have a separate bankroll just for your poker bankroll alone. Plus, that'll make it easier when you're in game. You won't have an emotional attachment to the chips if you know that, it's literally just expendable income and it's okay. You can still eat if you get stacked aces to kings. Okay, so step number 3 is learn to exploit your opponents. Okay, so everyone at the poker table has a different style, has their own style, and you're going to see all different kinds of poker players, right? You're going to see tight players, passive players, and versus these types of players, you want to bluff them more because if they don't connect with the board, they're probably just going to end up folding. So you can take down a lot of money on the flop or turn if, depending on the run out, by them folding. Because if they, like I said, if they didn't connect, then they're just going to fold a lot. So you can print money that way. You want to bluff catch versus them less, meaning you don't want to call them very often if they are betting aggressively, because when they do bet aggressively, these type players, they're just going to have it a lot. So we call that bluff catching. You don't want to just call with marginal hands trying to catch them in a bluff when type players don't bluff as often. Against loose players, aggressive players, players that are just guns out, fire in, love to play pots, against these types of players, you want to check more and trap more with your big hands. So if you know that you're up against a player who loves to bluff, then with your strong hands, you should probably be checking and inducing those bluffs from your opponent. You don't want to bluff them as much because they don't like to fold, but you can bluff catch more versus them. So you can go into bluff catch more and try to catch them in their bluffs. And then the weaker your opponent is, the more you should widen your ranges to get in pots with them. You want to try and isolate them. So if I'm on the button and I know that I have really bad or fishy players, fish is a bad player in poker. If I know I have fishy players in the blinds, then I'm going to open a wider range because I know that I get to play in position on these opponents, right? So, and the best thing you could do is play in position. You always want to play on the button, as close to the button as you possibly can. And you want to tighten up your ranges. So you want to tighten up the range of hands that you're playing when you're in the early positions, when you're first to act, right? Because no matter what, you're going to lose the most money from the blinds and from the early positions. There's just no way around it, so might as well tighten up. Okay, so step number 4 is learn to be aggressive. Aggression wins in poker. A strategy of limping and calling is not as superior as a strategy of betting and raising and putting in the pressure and putting your opponents to the test, right? You always want to be the one that's making your opponent guess. You don't want to be you don't want to have it the other way around where you're constantly having to make the difficult decisions. You want to put the pressure on your opponents. Don't be afraid to lose pots. Like I said, losing is inevitable in poker and you are going to lose pots. And you just have to kind of learn to be okay with that. And I do, inside of my course, I do coach on the mental side of things and really handling your emotions when you are kind of running bad or losing and getting unlucky. Let me take one quick second to talk about something that I believe is incredibly important. I'm super excited for all of you that Aura has decided to sponsor this video, and I will tell you why. I get a lot of opportunities to partner with companies, but I usually turn them down because I don't feel passionate about what they offer. And I decided to partner with Aura, a top-notch digital security service, because this is a product I literally can't live without. I use it, my husband uses it, even my elderly parents use it. So what is Aura? It's an all-in-one digital security service that offers identity theft protection, credit monitoring, a secure VPN, and so much more. Basically, it keeps your identity, your bank accounts, your online presence safe and sound. Aura does so much to protect you, but just to name a few services that they offer, one is identity theft protection. So Aura monitors the dark web for your personal information and alerts you if anything suspicious comes up. Then there's credit monitoring. So they keep an eye on your credit score and give you real-time alerts if anything big changes. Aura also offers a VPN for secure private browsing and parental controls to help manage your kids' online activities. But most importantly, in my opinion, it just gives you peace of mind. It's super easy to use and you get instant alerts if anything weird happens. It's all about keeping your presence, your identity safe and just at ease. And I definitely sleep better at night knowing that I'm protected, especially as someone who has been hacked. I've been hacked and my parents have been hacked, and it was a really traumatizing experience. And if I can help you avoid that and not have to go through with that, then I've done my job. So as today's sponsor, Aura has offered a 14-day free trial, absolutely no commitment whatsoever. Just click the link in my bio. And I really, really strongly encourage you. Like I said, there's no commitment. You can test it out for free for 14 days. And I guarantee you that once you use it and once you have it in your life, you're going to ask yourself how I went this far and lived this long without it. So check it out. And if you do, just let me know in the comments, because I would love to know if what your thoughts are and if you think it helps. So anyway, let's get back to the poker. Okay, so step number 5 is master your continuation bet game. Your continuation bet is when you raise as the pre-flop raiser, you're the pre-flop aggressor, and now you're post-flop and you're looking to continue the aggression with another bet. So what you want to do is you want to break your hand into different classes. So we're going to break our hand into 4 different classes. Our class A are our value hands. So these are anything from top pair, top kicker, to 2-pair sets, straights, flushes, full houses, etc. So remember, we're on the flop right now. So say we flop a full house, that would be a class A hand. Or if we flop on the ace 7-2 rainbow, if we have ace king, I would say that's a class A hand. Our class B hands are our draws. These are our flush draws, our straight draws, our backdoor flush draws, our gut shots. And if you're not familiar with these terms, don't worry, we are going to cover that. I do have a whole list of poker terms that you can download inside the course. I know I haven't really explained what the course is, but we will get to that. Okay, so class C are your medium strength hands. These are your middle and bottom pairs, sometimes good ace highs. So this would be like on a king 7-2. This would be if you had a hand like ace 7. I would say that's like a class C middling strength hand. And then your class D are your garbage hands. These hands totally miss. So this would be like red pocket 2s on an ace king 10 all spade flop. Now that we've classified our hands, now we want to group our classes together. So our class A, our value hands, and our class B, our drawing hands. For the most part, our default strategy is going to be continuation bet. So we're going to bet our class A and our class B, and then our class C and our class D, we're going to be checking. This is our default strategy. This doesn't mean we're going to do this every time, but this is just your basic strategy. If you can just work, just incorporate this into your game, you are going to see how much more pots you're taking down. It's remarkable. So the reason we want to kind of group our class A and our class B together and our class C and our class D is because we don't want our opponents to always know what we're doing. So we don't want them to know that we're always betting every time we have a pair, right? Or we're always checking when we have a draw or miss the flop, right? So this is going to be your continuation bet strategy. So step number 6 is learn to read your opponent's souls. So everyone gives off information at the poker table, and there's little things that you can look for that are going to help make your decisions, because they're going to be either, you want to look at their posture. They're either going to be slouching and maybe that means that they're not interested in their hand. Or if you notice they look at their cards and they stand up really straight, then that means they're probably a little bit more into their hand and excited to play. So always take a look at posture. You also want to see, so if they're looking at their chips as soon as they see their hand, so say they just are dealt their hand and they quickly glance over at their chips, that means they're planning something, right? They're looking to cut out chips for a bet. They're looking at how much money they have in their stack. So they're interested, they're involved, right? They want to play the hand. Double checking their cards. So say someone raises and you call and you notice that your opponent checks his cards again, or his or her cards again post-flop, well, that means it's probably not that memorable of a hand, right? Everyone knows when they have pocket aces. If you're dealt 2 red aces, you know it. So when they double check their hand, it could sometimes mean that they have like a marginal, not super strong hand. And then timing tells how quickly someone puts out their bet. When they put them out really fast, it could mean that they have a really strong hand. If they don't put out their bets really fast and they're thinking, it can also mean they have a strong hand. I know this one kind of goes both ways. But I also noticed that if the board is very draw heavy, so say there's a lot of flush draws out there and you make a bet and your opponent calls right away, I find that that's often a lot of draws. I feel like they have a lot of draws there because a lot of people just default to just like call with their draws and they don't even consider raising. And then the neck pulse. So I always love to look for this one. When someone is really excited or nervous, their neck might pulse in the middle of the hand. I think mine used to do it, and then I started covering my neck when I'm in hands. But you always want to look at the neck pulse and kind of evaluate their posture and their demeanor, what their facial expressions are saying, because that can give you a lot of information about the strength of their hand. So, do you like what you learned here today? If you have, like I said, I do have a course, the Poker Accelerator course, and it's for No Limit Texas Hold'em, tournament and cash game strategy. So whether you like tournaments more or cash games more, I coach equally both of them. Whether you're a beginner or a more seasoned player, this course is for you. The transformation. So here, it's not about information, it's about transformation. I am going to help you transform your game. So I help ambitious professional and recreational poker players who feel like they're not maximizing their potential. They're frustrated with their current results, unsure of what they're doing wrong, may feel overwhelmed by all of the different strategies, the confusing solver programs like I showed you earlier, the complex calculations out there, to becoming more profitable, have a much deeper understanding of the game, and really know what to do in every hand. Feel confident while achieving their poker goals and excited to continue to grow their knowledge of the game, and so much more. So I have a step-by-step process that will help transform your game. I have downloadable resources, all of those raise first in ranges. I have all of the odds charts and probabilities. I have interactive hand quizzes, so you can actually go in and play a poker hand yourself, and I will explain, in a recording why you did or didn't make the right decision. And then there's a private Facebook group where you can interact with me and members of my team and other people in the community as well. I think one of the most important ways that I improved my game was interacting with people that were better than me and surrounding myself with, like-minded people and people that are excited and motivated to help, to improve their game and to help you and to evaluate your hands, and you talk back and forth. And it's just really important to have a community to be a part of. So I wanted to give you guys a few testimonials from some of my students that I worked with personally, and I do offer private coaching as well and group coaching. But this is Greg Bush. He said, Lexi, I enjoyed today's session. Below is a screenshot of my win rate increase since we've started working together. I believe our first session was mid-February, and since then my win rate has increased 50%. So in January, he started at $19 an hour, and by March, he increased his win rate to $130 an hour. That is amazing. So excited for Greg. This is Marianne Fontes, another one of my students. She's amazing. She says, Lexi is an excellent coach. She is knowledgeable and professional and helped me go from a losing cash game player to a winning one. She tailored the lessons to my needs and never made me feel embarrassed for not knowing as much as I thought I did. Because of her, I was able to cash in my first ever World Series of Poker event. I highly recommend Lexi for a new or seasoned player. And then this is Jonathan Little. I love working with Jonathan. He has over $8 million in live tournament earnings and is a very amazing person and very successful and world-renowned poker pro. He says, Lexi Gavin is an awesome poker player and enlightening coach. She always knows the right thing to do. And this is from a student of mine. His name is Jason Struganel. He says, I've been working on my game seriously for about 2 years. I have reached the point where I could really benefit from some personal coaching, but money was really tight and I just wasn't sure if I would get the value from coaching. I just hired Lexi Gavin as a coach and I'm more excited about poker than I've been in a long time. She's extremely knowledgeable, patient, incredibly well prepared, and already has given me a ton of valuable insights related to things both on and away from the table. I'm certain she's advancing my game much faster than I could by myself and will continue to. If you are ready to take your game to the next level, I highly recommend Lexi Gavin as a coach. So really quick, I want to talk about my story. I started playing at a very young age. I played with my grandma, my brother, and then I went to college and I started playing online. And it was right after I graduated. I was supposed to go to law school and I decided to start taking poker very, very seriously. Not long after, poker was banned in America, so I moved up to Canada with a group of amazing mentors, including Greg Merson, who won the 2012 World Series Poker main event, Rich Lindecker, who was nuts and ho on PokerStars. I lived with Ankush Mandavia, another amazing legend. So we all kind of moved up to Canada together and I started mass multi-tabling. So I played 24 tables at one time and all of that volume really helped shape my game. I don't recommend 24 tabling if you're just starting out, but we can get you there if that's your goal. Then I decided to make the switch to live poker and I moved to Atlantic City. Actually, I moved to New York for a while and I would take the Greyhound bus to Atlantic City with one buy-in in my pocket and barely enough money for the bus fare. I remember one specific time, it was like a 3.5-hour drive, and I had one buy-in in my pocket for 1 2. I had like $200 plus like $40 for the bus, like no money for food. And I went so excited, but so nervous. 3.5-hour drive. I get there. I sit at the 1-2 table. I'm so excited. And then I lost aces and a kings all in pre-flop for my entire bankroll at the time. And I went broke. And it was a really, really low point in my career. I felt so incredibly defeated. And I was just really, that was probably my very lowest point. I actually wound up moving into the Borgata Casino in Atlantic City. I was washing my clothes in the sink for a while. Just, every time I would make some money, I would just try and jump up in stakes and I would bust my bankroll. And it was just a repetitive, vicious cycle that I couldn't get out of. I was really, really sad, broke, and just confused. So I was at my lowest and most frustrated point when I was broke, struggling to beat micro stakes online, continually busting my bankroll, being mad at the game, and feeling lost, frustrated, confused, and defeated. But since then, I really worked on my game. I devoted my life to learning and studying and playing and practicing, and now not just being successful on the felt, but now really building a brand and making my money off of poker as well as in poker. So since then, I have won over $2.5 million between cash games and tournaments. I'm a coach, TV host on Poker Night in America on CBS Sports, and an author. I have a book coming out. So I have a lot of irons in the fire, and I've never been more excited about poker. In 2019, I was the #1 ranked woman at the World Series of Poker for number of cashes. And in 2020, I actually was the #1 female poker player in the world ranked for Player of the Year for the Global Poker Index Player of the Year race. But most importantly, I have personal freedom and I absolutely love what I do. And so can you. This can be you. I'm telling you, I can't legally promise that you're going to make a ton of money in poker because it's gambling and I'm not allowed to do that. But if you follow the steps and use the tools and the formula and the roadmap that I give you, you can be successful in poker too. Whether you're trying to make a little bit of extra dough on the side as a side hustle or trying to do this for a living, the goals, the possibilities are endless as long as you are willing to put in the work and are excited. So this course is not for you if you want to make a quick buck fast. You aren't willing to put in the work and this course is for you if you're undeniably excited about poker. So what are you waiting for? Sign up for the Poker Accelerator today. Come join the family and start your transformation now. I would love to work with you. I would love to see you on the inside. It's just, like I said, you have to treat your money as an investment, and the best investment you can make is in yourself. If poker is a passion of yours, then just bite the bullet and think of it as tuition for, you go to school to learn a trade, or you go to invest in your future. And that's what a poker course is just signing up and investing in yourself and investing in your tuition to learn the game. And the possibilities really are endless. So I would love to see you on the inside. Click the link to sign up for the training. I would love to see you and have you part of my community and my family. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this presentation helped you, and I hope that even if you don't sign up for the course, it's totally fine. I would love to hear your feedback on social media. Make sure to tag me. I love hearing from you guys, and best of luck in your games, and I hope to see you on the inside.